What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, class swing traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. Almost to the end of the week, and we did have PPI today. It came in slightly hot, so a little bit of a surprise. I think core was essentially in line, but there was a few outliers in the report, so market is pulling back slightly. We weren't really ripping prior to it, but most notably, we did put in on the SPY yesterday uh, one new higher VPOC that locked in. So we are trapping some bears today out of the gate. We'll see what happens. But we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Bill, Cindy, Frank, Jay. We got Lauren, Martina. We got Tim. Good morning to all you guys piling in. We got David Cook Speak out in YouTube land. All my lurkers in YouTube land. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button as well. But yeah, so little bit of a pullback. Some bulls maybe trapped. We definitely have a little element of like a small term double top. We have support kind of far away still. We got maybe another retest into like 604.66. However, still a little bit of maybe just the opening price from yesterday's candle. Could be a little bit of retest spot right where we're sitting now at open. We'll see where this holds, but this might be around close to the 618 retracement from yesterday's entire candle. So, chop fest, probably a little bit more edge to the bears today. The stocks that were absolutely running, everything in the Mag 7 was pushing. Nvidia's a little bit slower to the push, so chips still a little bit weak. Obviously, Tesla just absolute beast mode yesterday. But overall, for the rest of the market, it was an average day. It wasn't anything too crazy. Let's check out the Qs. Qs, which just a lot stronger. And again, this is all going to be important because uh, if we just have the Mag 7 running, everything else is kind of in maybe zone. We could see some more strength from some of the big guys, but if the big guys start to fall and the other stuff isn't really picking up, yeah, that might be a little continuation. So what we want to see is kind of that broadening out again. We want to see some other stocks start to push as well, and not just all consolidate while just a couple of them enjoy the successful bullish run. But Qs look good. They are pulling back a little bit again, maybe about halfway through yesterday's candle. I would say we want to watch for support, probably somewhere around 526.19. And then to the higher side, you got 530.27 if we can start breaking out of that. Not too bad, but really good in terms of structure, really good breakout, good holds, higher VPOC, all time highs. We are still far away from those moving averages, so we probably have to maybe again consolidate another day or two. But longer term on Qs, I think we still have probably a little bit more upside. What would change my little tune is if we start breaking down and closing back below this 522.36. That's my longer term support at this point. But other than that, yeah. We got let's take a look at TLT. Let's see if the bond people are buying anything. DACH. What is happening? I don't even know how to say it. Is it DACA? DACA currency? You're crypto? AI crypto? We got TLT is they're not buying any of this. You have Q's hitting all-time highs yesterday, SPY very close to it. TLT still on that pullback. Not a great open. Support should be somewhere around 92.11. A little bit of warning sign from the bond people. We'll see if we can get any retracement in TLT, but it looks like it's still a little bit to the weak side. Adobe reported good earnings. So they did beat by 14 cents, 3% earnings per share. They also came in with a whopping 66 million higher than expectations. So solid report. The damaging portion of them, and here's a swing I set up forever ago. I wonder if I should take this. And we were never able to get in. We gapped right over it. Um, actually, that's going to be really important too. The guidance on this one wasn't great. Still a strong company, still really good earnings. I'm curious if we've never really come down to retest this spot. We were looking originally for some kind of a breakout play, some kind of a pullback. this might be our opportunity to actually get into this swing. I might have to set this up. Yep, we got our stop right below. We're starting to come into a pretty decent volume zone. So that should hold if we start to lose it, if we get stopped. I don't mind taking that loss. You should have room then back down to like 430, 639. We're not really dealing with too much volume after that. And then the next stop down is probably about like 375. So this might not be a bad attempt, still on the table, but we were looking at this in the swing room. This is probably just eyeballing it. I think this is we probably set like a 1.2, 1.2, 1.4, something like that. My guess would be this is a 1.2 target. But yeah, if I was looking for that support before, I'm sure other people were. So we might be gapping down into a little bit of support. And again, earnings weren't bad. It just the future guidance killed it. I'm gonna throw this one higher. I might set this one up as a swing. Never had the opportunity to get in before. Maybe give it a shot now. Interesting. All right. Yeah, if you guys have other tickers, anything else you want to take a look at, let me know. We do have MicroStrategy, which had a pretty decent day, really good close yesterday. At the highs of yesterday, and then crypto did start pumping a little bit more. So the next target on this one I got is 422.58. I think if we catch a little pullback into this VPOC, that would be a better spot for me to do that. So let's set an alert on this one. But if we get any type of retracement on this one, somewhere down to this 40, roughly about 402, 402, 403 zone, that might give us a better opportunity if we're targeting this 421.90 zone. Should have really good support somewhere down to like 395. Anything past that, we start getting right back into this chop zone. But really good close on that one. I would be looking for some kind of pullback. Dell, I don't know what to do with Dell. I really have no idea what to do with Dell. In some sense, um, again, we had indecision candle. We've already had a big major drop. Strong bearish close. I think the Bulls tried to come in, save it at the 200. We've bounced off here before. So if you're trying to buy things off that 200, you're in your location today. You're also opening at a little support. What I don't like is uh, we're also breaking down a pretty key volume zone, 117.62. And then today is a bearish gap and go. So there's not really much holding it up, depending on where this one wants to open. I think if we open anywhere under 117.27, I would still just be cautious. If you want to go bullish, maybe you're looking for like 116.93, just buy it essentially right off that 200. Other than that, it does look to the weaker side. I don't really see much other targets or support. If that 200 breaks down, I'm looking at maybe like a 114.76. And I think maybe a little longer term, at least we get into this 112.41. So I go either way. That 200 is the only thing that I'm like, maybe this is a good spot to buy it. But everything else in terms of the technical breakdown, the gap down, the big candle, one little resting candle, you get a gap down today. Everything else is bearish. So it's hopes and dreams if you are buying it bullish here. But it's not a bad attempt. I don't know. Well, I'll see how I want to play this one out. But that might be it, especially if you could get through that 116.96. I think you get a decent drop on Dell today. We'll see. We'll see how the rest of the market wants to hold up, and maybe you get a little back and forth here first before. By the way, we could just wait, not do anything today. See if you get a couple more days of consolidation around this 200. See what happens first, and then look for that break play. But I do have that one kind of higher on my list just to see. We got Nvidia 140 now is a struggle bus for it. So we got pretty much right into that 140 zone, a few pennies higher than it yesterday. We're still got that major support, 134. We do have some support from market makers kind of buying it up there, but this is now the second time they bought it here. It's not great. Uh, they're only gonna support for so long. But we do have a little pullback. You do have your 50 EMA 137.21. Let's see if we can stay above that. And then I do have my imaginary gray line at 1 137.42. So we're still above all that, but you do have support really, which we hit yesterday, or yeah, we hit yesterday. Again, a little bit easier to break down, even if you're going short from there. You're hoping that the market makers don't step in at 134, and then you got your next target down to 132. So decent amount of room to the downside. To the higher side, I think you still have a retest spot of 142.38. And I think we're just in Chopville for right now. So I don't know if there's really much edge on a day trade on this one. For immediate, you are trapping some bulls that did step in yesterday. Some people that might want to just clean out their positions and say, okay, we either made what we did or we didn't. But there's not really that much, I think, emotion today on this. It's not gapping in any direction. If I think if we gap outside of either side of this candle, there'd be a lot more activity. But they tried. They tried. We and ultimately all of yesterday was just an inside big day candle too. So we'll see on that one. I think if you're trying to go long, look for I guess that 50, but I would price it at somewhere as close as possible to 137. See if that 137 holds. If not, it's probably a nice round trip back down to 134. DKS, um, pretty decent gap up. It is a retest as well. We have the director buying some shares. He can't get enough. He needs some additional. Uh, I think this is a heavily defended bear zone. We start getting above probably like 223. The next stop I think takes us to about 229.27, and then I think you have targets to like 234. But you do have a lot of that volume below you, so that should be a little support. But opening into that heavily defended zone, I probably wouldn't be buying out of the gate. I think this is a little bit more of a retest. If you want to try to join the director in buying some shares, I'd be looking for like 219.96 if you get down there. And then another really good support if that one breaks, 217.77. So interesting move, especially at these levels. You're not exactly at all-time lows. You're much more close to all-time highs on this one. So interesting position for a director to step in and buy some shares. But I do think this is a little bit of a retest. I think you get a better pricing if you want to head into this one long. But and then you do have a little bit of a gap fill. We never quite filled this 232.37. So from open, that gives you $10. If you are a little more patient, you can get about $12 move if that gap fills. And bigger targets is 235.87. Unless you're a true believer in Dick's Sporting Goods, that's where I would be out, or else you're just kind of looking for all-time highs on that one. Let's put that one higher on the list though. It looks interesting. I don't know if there's enough room to play that fade for me, but if it does fade, I wouldn't mind probably a little bit later in the day trying to get in long somewhere. I'll get up that one up there. T ATNC. What are those green lines? Oh yeah, this is from a class I taught a while ago. This was long-term support. Guess where after we dropped, we got right into that, used it as some kind of resistance. Phenomenal. But they've had a decent recovery so far. Again, I think we were at $14, maybe even under. Yeah, we got to about $14 at some point. I am I'm in this one. For me, for long term, yeah, they got the divvies, but I think it's more a divvy play than anything else. But I did get in somewhere closer to the $14-15 range, so I'm up pretty decent on this one. This is a longer term support, so now longer term resistance. If we start to clear above that last VPOC at least, you got about 23.85 somewhere in that zone. Let's go back to a monthly chart because I think we have. I don't know if I still have the values for bigger resistance. Yeah, I got this. I got this chart marked up everywhere. Yeah, I don't have the. I took the longer term resistance off. Otherwise, on a technical basis, right now, besides that immediate resistance, and there is some people in this thing pretty profitable at this point. Everything else, structure wise, you haven't really broken down any of the dips. They've all been essentially higher lows. So nice uptrend on this one. All the moving averages stacked perfectly. So that still looks phenomenal. It's just that bigger term. This is also a retest gap at open. So if you are going to try to day trade this one, um, I don't think I could go bullish here unless I think for some reason we could start breaking $24 and then we probably have a little bit more room above us. But I'd say if you get a pullback, a little bit tougher to trade. Uh, like I said, for a longer term hold, I think it's fine. But in a much longer term sense, AT&T has been pretty disappointing. Besides the divvies and kind of building out your positions, so I don't think I'd probably be buying more if you don't own any. I'd say if you get a little bit more of a pullback, something little bit bigger than where we're at now. TGT. Tarjay, what are we doing on this one? That's a interesting gap. Again, it is a little bit of a retest. I don't think I want to see it retest too far. Get me down to like 137.14. This thing was lately been on fire after those earnings came in. I think we got our next target up to 141. Not sure if we hit that today, but um, even for a swing trade, 141. We Dix is on fire today. Target might also gain some retail excitement. We still got the Christmas holiday season right around the corner too. Yeah, I would be targeting to 141. You do have that gap fill. 141 would be my target, but I think you could probably get to like 141.49. Out of all of them, believe it or not, that one's got the most room I've seen so far. Again, do want to pull back on it though. We get back down to like this 130, especially with all this buying into this. See if we get into like this 137.15 zone. That's not bad. All right, we got crowd CRWD. Uh quite the comeback on this one. I don't know if I want to use the word frothy, but is there. I think that's a viable word to use. This stock seems pretty frothy. They've been coming in, I think I've seen reports comparing CrowdStrike to Palantir, and people are like, yeah, it's CrowdStrike. They're going to be more valuable. They're going to, I don't know. I don't know. But on a chart basis, we had monster gap down. This was based off that, I don't know, they got hacked, I think, but according to them, they just did a software update. But either way, big massive drop. There's a lot of people that just buy the dips for everything. If you did buy it long term, congrats. You got an amazing price. This thing is up there. And you're very close to these all-time highs. We've now come retested this. This could turn into it's not there yet, but this thing could turn into a little bit of a head and shoulders, get a deeper pullback, maybe into like this 300 zone again. If you're trying to buy it, you do have the 200 right around there as well. For day trade purpose, got a lot of resistance. I'd watch this 364.06, but even if you break that, you got 367.31. You got your support, first support at least down to 354.77. If that breaks, 349.66. So inside day, you're at the higher end range. See if this one gets bought up a little bit, but I think you have a little bit of I think you got a little bit more value to the bearish downside than you do to the bullish side for today. Monster resistance. So if you get some bids, maybe we already hit that pre-market, but somewhere around this 363.13, that's where I would either be lightening some shares up if I have them in a bullish direction, or see if you get a little reversal, and then you'll have some decent room to the downside on this one. And you do have one little resistance over here too. So we'll see which one that wants to do, but it does seem like it's a little bit in chop. We got PDD. Um, Not doing much. Everything again. I believe China is going to head into a 2-day meeting. So you talk about the economy, you talk about interest rates, things like that. Whatever the result of that is, so even for a swing trade basis, um, for a valuation standpoint, you're probably still at a good price. I prefer Baba. If I had to list the top three, I would put Baba one, Baidu two, PDD three. Does not mean PDD can't have massive moves. It can, it has. But this is going to be not so much an exclusive story to PDD, but China as a China as a entire story. If they come out, they're lowering rates. The market likes it. Until that happens, you're going to get wild gaps in both directions. And once we get those rates and we start to actual bottom out, then I think you're good to go. So I think we're close on a technical basis. You do have a longer term double bottom. You did hold some pretty good support, somewhere around 95.65. If you want to take a stab at this one, even buying some shares just in case some good news comes out, I get it. Nice gap up. This was a retest. But I think I would buy some puts as soon as you start breaking like this $96 zone. I'd buy some protective puts just to be sure, just to protect your overall position, but not a bad location to try. But again, it will, uh, it will gap around frequently until actual China bottoms out. Coin I've not looked at. We'll look at that one next. We got Riot. Shares are trading higher following a report from Wall Street Journal indicating activist investor Starboard Value has taken a stake in the company. So where we at? That's a good move. Pretty good gap. This is a retest gap. I don't want to see a full-on retest down to $11.81. But if we could stall out somewhere around 13, maybe I don't even really want to see this one. But if we come down into like this 12.98 zone, that's a potential. I do have my next immediate target up to like 13.57. That won't get us much, but if we could get to if we could break that resistance, get to 14.32, we have a decent trade. Also on top of that one, and that's probably where I'd sell for today, but you would be getting through this red candle to hit that target. Maybe if you buckle up that seatbelt, you could hit 15.04 today, but we'll see how that one wants to move. I think short float and right is decent still. Let's see. Finviz, right. Not as much as Mara, but let's see. Yeah, short float is about 14.43. You might get that little squeeze. We'll see where this one opens. Um, that one could get interesting today. Nice find. Mm, we'll watch that one, see if we get a little squeeze action. Probably got to be quick on it. Coinbase. Coin we have not looked at yet. Interesting. Big resistance on this one is 317.86. Maybe we get to like 318.23. If we could break that, you got a really fantastic potential move to 328.95. Again, yesterday for the most part, inside day, a little bit of a potential bull trap. And then we just kind of closed right back inside. Today we're gapping up, but still inside yesterday's candle. Um, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at this one bullish, especially with I think Bitcoin has come back a little bit back above 100K. Bitcoin looks like it's about to break again. Still inside this high wave candle from December 5th though. So I would tell on Bitcoin, we get anywhere past 103,733. I would imagine that Coinbase, MSTR all kind of rampage up again. Both of them have kind of pulled back. Coinbase might get a little exciting. We'll see what this weekend brings too. I've got one little resistance. So before we even get to breaking that high wave candle, I'd be looking to see if we could take out 101, 636, somewhere in that zone, which we're right at right now. So we get a little bit higher push. The next stop on this one, next target would be this 10 just 103 600 zone. Anything and I think we have momentum into it. So maybe that's a break opportunity with all moving averages lower. So Bitcoin does look good. Coinbase, again, I think it's going to play off that momentum. We have only one little resistance above us. I might be looking to play some Coinbase today. That looks pretty fantastic as well. But we will see. We did look at PDD. Let's just take a look at BABA real quick. Bob, the same thing. A little bit of a pullback support on this one for right now. I got about 87.38. Target to the higher side on that one. You're gonna have a little resistance at 89.43. I think that's doable to break out, but 89.91. And let's check Baidu. Uh, Yep, Baidu with that little bit of a pullback. Yeah, Adobe we looked at. That one does look interesting. I think we might be able to play that one up. I'd be looking to probably try to figure out how to get in that one bullish. I wouldn't mind a little bit of a continued sell-off at open though. Boeing, good gap up. You got that 200 right in front of you, just a little bit higher. 170.32. Nice dead cat bounce. It actually is starting to look decent again. You don't really have much volume. Your next volume spike, I guess you got a little one at 174.02. And then after that, we got 177.71. Then I'd be watching this 183 pretty heavily. That's still a decent amount of upside. But probably have to play around with this 200 a little bit, maybe on some pullbacks if we could get them. That previous target of 160.93, that might have to be switched around to the new support. And then we'll see if Boeing is back in the game. I know I've seen all those good headlines that came. Oh no, never mind. Never mind. No, I haven't seen any good headlines yet. But stock traders don't care. They do not care. Unity software. We have like 2 more minutes. Let me know if there's any other tickers that look interesting. Unity probably still looks like a little bit of a short. Did we look at Tesla yet? I don't know if we did. Tesla probably going for more continuation to the higher side. I think right now your support, if it pulls back, one could dream, but that would be $420 and 25 cents. Decent little support. We might even got to that pre-market as well already. But opening at the highs of the day and all-time highs, and it's Tesla. You got Elon, you got cyborgs, you got everything you could possibly want. Plus, adds a little bit of sprinkle some momentum into that, and I think they probably go higher. ALK, nothing crazy. Nvidia, we looked at AMD. Pre-market, we were we were dipping a little bit on the PPI news on AMD, but first green candle in a while. I didn't know it was possible, but we got one. Look for resistance on this one. Look for support on this one at yesterday's VPOC 129.26 if it starts selling. Otherwise, target for today on AMD could take you up to 132.68. Anything past that, it starts to look a little bit better, but you have 135.67 target to the higher side. Everybody on YouTube land, that is the morning bell. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And you guys are fantastic. I will catch all of you guys tomorrow. Later, guys.